Naples is a city that moves at more than one speed. This is a metropolis still shaped by decisions made hundreds of years ago. A network of narrow alleys that today's city planners would never have designed. Modern offices and hotels cling to Roman ruins and centuries-old villas. What is less obvious is that Naples also has geological speed, and it is this that has the most power. Most of it travels at a barely perceptible speed, but every so often, it accelerates into disaster. An eruption of fire and rock that disrupts all other timescales in the city. The volcano in Naples has had a different time, with humans evolving over decades, centuries, or even millennia, so it is easy to assume that the volcano is static. The most famous of these is Vesuvius, most famous for destroying Pompeii and Herculaneum in 79 AD. It towers high above the city. But there are other underground threats here, and some of them have much greater power. In fact, one of these giant volcanoes is showing worrying signs that it will soon erupt, and there are hundreds of thousands of people living on the top of the mountain. To find out what it's like to live and work alongside these monsters, I recently visited Naples to film for the BBC, talking to geologists who study and observe them 24 hours a day. I discovered a city that was headed for disaster, but no one knew exactly when and where it would happen. One of the last times Naples experienced a major volcanic event was exactly 80 years ago this week. In mid-March 1944, during the Second World War, the magma and gas deposits that had been slowly building under Vesuvius suddenly began to erupt. A U.S. military doctor, Leander Powers, who was stationed in Italy at the time, described what he saw. As we were just finishing dinner, someone called and said there was a huge flow of red lava flowing down the side of Mount Vesuvius. We could see the light in the sky. Throughout the night and Sunday there were earthquakes with powerful rumbling sounds similar to thunder. The windows shook and the entire building shook. The next day, events escalated. His roars became more frequent and thunderous, like a lion's roar. Streams of fire shot thousands of feet into the air, and the countryside was illuminated for miles around. Often the entire mountain top looks like hellfire. Powers wrote, a news report at the time showed stunning footage of giant ash clouds, roiling lava flows and collapsed buildings. Today, Vesuvius is much calmer, and the cataclysmic events of 1944 are starting to fade from collective memory as the older generation passes away. Today, the peak is a tourist attraction with carriages transporting people to the top, and souvenir stands selling refrigerator magnets made from solidified lava. I had come to follow a group of artists and scientists climbing to the top on a field trip, as part of a festival called Volcanic Attitude. Vesuvius is not like mountains in general. Usually when you reach the top, you see the surrounding views, but here, the eye is drawn inwards to the giant crater. But when I peeked over the fence, I only saw stone fragments and a little cloud of sulfur smoke. It was an incredible experience to encounter an entity that had the power and strength to destroy me, but fortunately there was no sign of its wrath in the past. Even so, Vesuvius remains active, and one day it will explode again. Geologist Giovanni Macedonio from the National Institute of Geophysics and Volcanology shows topography destroyed by past eruptions. If Vesuvius explodes, it won't be small. The entire hillside will be blown to pieces. Beneath Naples, the African tectonic plate collided and plunged beneath Europe, creating a mixture of magma and gas that was more flammable than the volcanoes of Iceland or Hawaii.